Yes, thank you, Maria.
Great, thank you. So as you have already seen from the title of this webinar, today we will focus on how we can enhance the museum experience through innovative technological applications. Now, museums as guardians of our cultural heritage face unique challenges in engaging visitors, ensuring accessibility, and preserving artifacts. So today we will explore how technology can not only address these challenges and needs, but also propel museums into a new era of interactive and immersive experiences. And throughout this seminar, we will delve into the current technological landscape of museums, examine potential applications, and draw inspirations from different case studies. By the end of the webinar, I hope you, people especially joining the hackathon, will not just be participants in the hackathon, but also architects of transformative change in the museum world. So the recent years have witnessed a large emphasis being placed on technological and digital media interventions in museums, and on the potential advantages that such applications can have on the overall visitor experience. Museums all over the world are currently trying to adjust and embrace technological innovations so as to keep up with the new developments on interactive and emerging technologies. However, it appears that incorporating and cultivating such a technological dimension in aspects of the museum operation is not always as smooth as in other areas of everyday life in which these technologies are used. And apart from the practical or other challenges, it appears that in many cases, the attempts towards a digital transformation of museums may also affect the very nature of the museum experience offered to visitors in unexpected ways. Thus, the frequent and widespread use of digital technologies in museums leads to the need for a deeper and more critical analysis of the technologies used. So during this webinar, we will explore some current needs of museums and the ways in which technology can help address these needs. And we will provide an overview of different examples of technology currently used in museums environment, such as interactive kiosks, touchscreens, mobile applications, virtual augmented reality application, and analyze the potential advantages for the museum and its visitors. And we will also try to critically examine and assess the potential limitations and challenges that may be created by the use of this technology in the museum space. And we'll also discuss how these challenges can be addressed. And finally, we will highlight particular future directions so that new technologies can be used in more effective and creative ways. So which are the current challenges that museums face and how technology can help in this? Museums, with their rich tapestry of artifacts, artworks, and historical narratives, hold a unique place in our society. However, they have specific needs and encounter daily challenges which technology can help us address. I chose here 5 wider areas of needs and challenges that you can also have in mind for the hackathon, and some ideas on the roles that technology can play in this. Now, the first one is visitor engagement. Museums strive to captivate diverse audiences, and by diverse, we refer to many different age groups. It could be younger audiences, children, the elderly, and so on, but also to different types of visitors and visitor groups. It could be tourists, it could be occasional visitors, regular audiences, families, and so on. All these different types of visitors have different needs, and museums should employ varied ways of engaging these different types of audiences. And of the most critical questions that many museums currently face is how to attract the younger generation, especially of visitors that are usually not so drawn into museums. So technology could provide the opportunity to create dynamic and engaging environments to attract new visitors, and especially the younger generations. The second thing is accessibility. Ensuring accessibility for all visitors is a crucial goal for museums. The accessibility needs of museums encompass a broad spectrum of challenges that museums are working to address. For example, physical accessibility is of paramount importance, both for the disabled and the elderly visitors, or for visitors with mobility impairments. However, accessibility challenges may be connected to visual accessibility and the need to cater to individuals with visual impairments, for example, or to auditory accessibility and the needs of visitors with hearing impairments. So recognizing and addressing these accessibility needs is an integral step to fostering an inclusive and welcoming environment for all museum visitors. And technology may provide an array of solutions to allow for inclusive experiences with features like audio guides, tactile displays, multisensory installations, and so on, breaking down the barriers and making cultural institutions accessible to everyone. A third area is preservation and interpretation. Museums are currently placing more and more emphasis on how to best preserve and open up their collections to the public with the help of technology. So technology can offer more sophisticated solutions on the digitization of collections, the creation of digital archives and databases in order to enhance accessibility to information, encouraging a more profound understanding of cultural heritage. And this has also an impact on the interpretation practices, with museums seeking innovative solutions for the interpretation of collections, aiming to offer more engaging and informative experiences to visitors. For example, technologies such as augmented reality or virtual reality technologies may provide immersive storytelling opportunities, allowing visitors to explore historical context and gain deeper insights into the significance of artifacts. So what is needed here is technology that not only preserves the physical integrity of collections, but also enriches the interpretative dimensions, fostering a dynamic and educational engagement with the past for present and future audiences. And of course, this also affects the fourth area, which is the educational aspects of the museum experience, and how museums can engage their visitors in new forms of learning through more engaging, immersive, or multisensory interpretation, or through new digital storytelling opportunities. The final area is connected to the social dimension of the museum experience and the need of museums to provide opportunities for social interaction between visitors and groups of visitors within the museum space, especially in today's world, where there is a type of social interaction becomes more rare and is carried out only over the internet and social media. So for those of you who are participating in the hackathon, it's good to keep these wider areas of museum needs in mind and think about how technology can help to address these needs and create new opportunities and solutions, and how the power of technology can help us transform museums into vibrant, accessible, and social spaces for all. So which technologies are currently being used in museum spaces? Museums are embracing a variety of technologies to enhance visitor experiences and to meet the evolving demands of the digital age. I have selected here some of the most frequently used technologies in order to have a closer look at them. And these may be virtual reality applications, augmented reality, interactive exhibits and touchscreens, multisensory and interactive experiences, mobile apps for guided tours and personalized information, gamification, and sensors. So let's take a closer look at these technologies and their uses in the museum space one by one with the help of some real case examples. So virtual reality has been used all the more frequently in museums in the last year, and undisputedly it has created tremendous opportunities for museums on many levels, offering alternative ways for museums to interact with their visitors. So VR has been used for reconstructing historical environments that no longer exist, for interpretation and experience enhancement, for increased visitor engagement and education, and for creating immersive experiences in museum environments. In most cases, VR is used to allow the visitor to experience a space that is no longer accessible, or to allow the visitor to time travel and experience a particular event in history and give visitors the feeling of walking into history, let's say, or to experience a historical era and place that no longer exists. So VR has also been used to allow visitors to experience places that cannot be accessed easily, such as, for example, the bottom of the ocean or the Antarctica, and to deepen their understanding on topics relating to climate change, wildlife, and so on, and also to offer alternative points of view or even create empathy to the visitors. VR can also facilitate a more dynamic museum experience by allowing visitors to interact with the museum collection virtually and zoom or pan around the object and instantly access more dynamic content such as videos and interactive guides. One recent example of this is the Curious Alice exhibition that was hosted at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, which aimed to explore the Lewis Carroll classic novel Alice in Wonderland. The exhibition included a VR experience, which was the result of a partnership between the Victoria and Albert Museum and HTC Vive Arts, presented a fully immersive, interacting reimagining of Wonderland, celebrating basically one of the most iconic and inspiring stories of all time. And through VR headsets, museum visitors could be transported to various worlds where they could interact with characters from Carroll's novel. Now, let's have a look at this video to get a better idea of what the visitors saw with their VR headsets.
In Wonderland, nothing is as it seems. Use your senses to complete curious challenges. Race against the clock to capture the white rabbit's missing glove. Explore fantastical landscapes. Solve the caterpillar's mind-bending riddles. Defeat the Queen of Hearts in a curious game of croquet. Reward your curiosity. Discover your Wonderland.
So this is just an idea of what visitors could see in this exhibition and how VR can help us to dive into a fantasy land or a world that does not exist, for example. Now, apart from VR, augmented reality or AR has also been used in museums. AR enhances the physical world by overlaying digital content. And museums leverage AR to provide additional layers of information about exhibits or to bring some exhibits to life. Visitors can use smartphones or AR glasses to see historical figures, animations, or content related to artifacts, enriching their understanding and engagement. Now, augmented reality has the power to transform static exhibits into dynamic, interactive experiences, and so museums usually use this type of technology to enhance their educational activities, apart from just simple experience enhancement. An indicative example is the Skin and Bones AR application that was introduced by the Smithsonian Institution to bring a whole new dimension to one of its oldest displays of skeletons in the museum's Bone Hall. Visitors could download the Skin and Bone application, which shows these pieces in a new light, which superimposes images to reconstruct the creatures. Users can see how skin and muscle would have looked over the bones of the animals and how the animals would have moved. This gives them a unique glimpse into the history of the pieces and helps to bring the display to life. Now let's have a look to see how this application works.
What can happen when you cross the most advanced 3D mobile technologies with one of the Smithsonian's most historic exhibits? Introducing Skin and Bones, the all-new augmented reality app created by the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History. Skin and Bones combines groundbreaking 3D technology, videos, stories, activities, and a few acoustic surprises to expose the stories behind the skeletons on display in the Bone Hall. Download the free app for iPhone and iPad today and experience an exciting new reality.
So since this hackathon is focused on cultural tourism, let me show you another example of an AR application that has been designed by Science and was commissioned by the Science Deputy Ministry of Tourism. So the Dragon project is a collaboration between the Museum Lab, the Ithaca Group, and the web developers team of Science. And the outcome was a game application following a treasure hunt approach that uses augmented reality technology. The game includes 20 points of interest found in different villages in the areas relevant to the Heartland of Legends, a route that was created by the Deputy Ministry of Tourism, which passes through mountainous areas, aiming to offer authentic experiences to visitors and tourists and bring them closer to Cypriot nature, tradition, and way of life. Game participants will be looking to discover digital dragons that are hidden in these locations, and through the application, a small story will unfold in AR in the ways that you can see now in the video, inspired by Cypriot stories, traditions, fairy tales, and legends, and also by unique local characteristics of each village. The project aims to promote Cypriot tangible and intangible cultural heritage and folklore traditions, and is inspired by the works of Hambis, a seminal figure of Cyprus in the art of engraving. Museums also use different types of interactive displays and touchscreens. For example, touchscreens may be integrated into exhibits to encourage hands-on exploration, to allow visitors to access in-depth information, manipulate virtual objects, or participate in interactive activities. The images in the slide come from the Gallery 1 of the Museum of Cleveland in the US. The particular exhibition offered hands-on technology-based activities which allow the exploration of particular works of art. The exhibition also included the largest multi-touch micro-tile screen in the United States at that time, displaying images of over 4,000 objects from the museum's permanent collection. The 40-foot wall that you can see here allowed visitors to create their own tours of the museum and to discover the full breadth of the collections on view throughout the museum's galleries. Interactive experiences may take different forms. Here we have an interesting example of interactive holograms. This was an immersive exhibition created by the Illinois Holocaust Museum in the US with the title Survivor Stories Experience, which aimed to recount the stories of Holocaust survivors. This was set up in a small theater where visitors could ask questions to the holograms of survivors, and the holograms respond as if the survivor is actually on stage, thanks to voice activation and recognition software. In this case, the use of holograms proved to have a great impact on the sense of immersion felt by the visitors, who could have a personalized one-on-one conversation. Technology is also used in museums to create multisensory experiences that incorporate haptic or olfactory elements. For example, the sense of smell has been incorporated in exhibitions, usually through scent dispensing devices and olfactory technology to enhance exhibits. For instance, historical exhibits can be enriched by recreating the scents of a specific era, immersing visitors in a sensory journey through time. By engaging haptic or olfactory senses, museums can create a holistic environment that transcends traditional boundaries, allowing visitors to explore history, culture, and art in a uniquely sensorial way. This technological approach opens new avenues for storytelling, enriching the narrative tapestry of museums and making cultural experiences more vivid and evocative. An indicative example of this is the Tate Sensorium exhibition that was developed by Tate Britain, and you can see here in the image. Tate Sensorium was an immersive display featuring 4 paintings from the Tate collection. The visitors could experience sounds, smell, tastes, and physical forms inspired by the artworks, and record and review their psychological responses through sophisticated measurement devices. Through the use of technologies such as mid-air haptics and scent dispensing devices, the experience encouraged a new approach to interpreting artworks using technology to stimulate the senses, triggering both memory and imagination. Museums also develop mobile apps to serve as personalized tour guides. This app may offer interactive maps, exhibit information, and multimedia content. They can also provide high level of personalized contents. For example, they can tailor the tour route based on user preferences, suggest additional exhibits aligned with individual interests, and provide multimedia content like audio guides, videos, or augmented reality features for deeper insights. Some applications also utilize location-based services to provide real-time information, enhancing the overall visitor experience. Gamification has also been used in museums to introduce an element of playfulness to museum visits, making learning more enjoyable for all age groups. This can involve the creation of interactive games and challenges to encourage visitors to explore exhibits, solve puzzles, or complete quests. In many cases, these games may also be part of a mobile application that includes guides and other learning material, which we mentioned in the previous slide. In the last few years, museums have been experimenting with serious games in order to provide educational and fun activities for mainly younger audiences and to complement or augment museum experiences. And many museums have used the hugely popular digital building game Minecraft as a point of entry to collections or narratives and as a way to provide educational experience in a more engaging way. One of the most successful uses of Minecraft was used by the Museum of London to mark the 350 years anniversary of the London Fire. The museum commissioned a team of expert Minecraft builders to render for them a virtual replica of the City of London before the blaze. It's the one that you see here. And in stunning detail, the team delivered the Thames waterfront, the City of London, and even the great cathedrals of that day. The point was to allow the Minecraft generation a way of entering those city streets and wander around them freely, just as they might have done in the mid of the 17th century. The Museum of London offered the chance to see the city at the height of the blaze and the devastating effect it must have had on the residents at the time. And then, as you see in this video, there was a Minecraft version of the city in its reconstruction phase. As such, the virtual worlds allowed for all sorts of learning, from history and town planning to social changes and architecture. And bear in mind that all those types of learning came from gamifying the user's experience in an exciting way. Museums also use sensors and RFID readers that are strategically placed throughout museums to create responsive exhibits. Usually, as visitors approach, sensors detect their presence and trigger relevant information or interactive elements. This dynamic approach ensures a personalized experience based on visitor engagement. In other cases, as visitors move through the space, sensors can detect their presence and trigger contextual information, ambient changes, or interactive elements. For instance, approaching an exhibit could activate multimedia content, providing visitors with a personalized and immersive encounter. This is an example. Let me just lower the voice here. This is an example of how such readers can be used in a museum environment. This is an installation that has been created at the Fairy Tale Museum in Nicosia by Science as a collaboration of the Museum Lab with the Ithaca Group. The aim of the project was to bring to life the magic objects room of the Fairy Tale Museum with the help of technology. So each object selected by the children is recognized here by sensors and triggers a semi-immersive experience with animations projected on the wall and on the floor, giving a sense of immersion to the children. Each animation includes music and narration that is related to the particular object, which relates to specific fairy tales. So these are just some examples of different types of technologies that are currently used in museum environment. These case studies demonstrate the diverse ways in which technology has been integrated into museum settings, enhancing engagement, accessibility, and educational value. Now, for those of you who are participating in the hackathon, and as you embark on your hackathon projects, consider how these potential applications can be combined, modified, or expanded upon to create innovative solutions for museums. Although each of these technologies is different and has a different set of advantages and limitations, which will come to discussion later, we will now try to provide an overview of potential advantages and of the potential limitations or challenges that you should have in mind when developing your ideas for the hackathon. So let's start with an overview of potential advantages. The first advantage is the enhancement of visitors' engagement with the museum collection and the ability of these technologies to offer powerful experiences through immersive storytelling or transport the visitors to inaccessible places. This type of engagement can allow for the creation of playful interactions and intense, memorable experiences. Such applications also have a power as a marketing tool to attract new visitors and engage younger audiences. In some cases, the use of such technologies by a museum may also have an effect on the overall image or the perception of the museum by its visitors, shifting the perceptions from old-fashioned to exciting. Accessibility, which we also mentioned before, is also emphasized as an important advantage. First, such technologies may offer advantages for people with disabilities by enabling them access to places that would otherwise be inaccessible, or offer multisensory experiences to people with disabilities, such as blind visitors. And of course, many such technologies may provide increased accessibility for online visitors who want to have museum experiences at home. As we have seen, some of these technologies can have a contribution to the overall educational aims of the museum and the ability to teach or introduce concepts and themes more effectively. Of course, as we have already seen, many of these technologies have the ability to offer immersive experiences, impacting both the engagement level and the level of learning, and also provide the ability to personalize a visit and offer customized experiences, especially through a combination of different technologies such as beacons, AR scanning, connectivity with personal devices, or motion sensors. However, despite all these advantages, the use of technology in museums also creates some challenges that should be taken into account when designing technological applications for museums. To better explore these challenges created from the use of technologies in museums, we have grouped these challenges into 4 different categories, which we will explore today through different examples. The 4 categories are technical and practical challenges, social challenges, screen dependency issues, and issues relating to the nature of activity. So let's start with the first category of challenges relating to technical and practical issues. This category includes several technical and practical challenges that should be taken into account. The most important one is that the use of technology in museums may affect the flow of the exhibition and thus the overall experience of the visitor. In many cases, technology may be interposed between the visitors and the objects, preventing the visitors from maintaining their physical proximity to the exhibit. Therefore, touchscreens or other applications used may break the condition of flow and engagement that the visitors experience during a museum visit. Moreover, due to the nature and construction of these interactives, they are often put aside to the corners of exhibitions, which slightly removes them from the narrative being constructed within a particular museum space. Finally, interactive technologies may also create an impoverished experience to the rest of the visitors not using these technologies and waiting in long queues for their turn. So in case these interactive technologies transform those gathered around, often waiting to use this exhibit into an audience that has an impoverished access to the activity that they are witnessing. In order to understand how the exhibition flow can be disturbed in some cases, let's have a look at an example from the Museum of Kyoto in Japan. One of the exhibits in the museum was a Japanese writing box from the Edo period. In the exhibition space, apart from one such example of a box, visitors could also use a VR headset to explore the inside contents of the box and the decorative designs in more detail. However, in some cases, things do not go according to the plan. As you can see in the photographs here, the room had 3 headsets that could be used by visitors at the same time. However, 2 out of 3 were out of order in this particular situation, which meant that only 1 visitor at a time could see the VR. As a result, very long queues were formed, with visitors having to wait for a long time, which disturbed the flow of the exhibition. On the other hand, the malfunctioning of the technology meant that the object remained somewhat uninterpreted, since the VR constituted a large part of its interpretation. Another issue that was clearly seen in this example is that the technology used grabbed the attention of the visitor so much that it eventually overshadowed the actual object. Visitors spend more time with the technology, either waiting in line or trying to figure out how the headset worked, than with the actual object that was right behind their back, as you will see in the photographs. In essence, these visitors experience the object mostly through the VR rather than through direct contact. Apart from the issues we already saw, there are also other considerations and challenges in this category. For example, users of VR or AR applications have pointed out particular problems caused by the hardware use, such as different types of head-mounted displays, as the one shown in the previous examples. Some users argue that most head-mounted displays are uncomfortable. They may also cause headaches or nausea to some users, which impedes their prolonged use. Another very important challenge is the high cost of implementing of such technologies in museums. Apart from the cost, the problem is that due to the rapid advancement of technology, such installations can easily and quickly become obsolete and old-fashioned. Apart from quickly becoming obsolete, such technologies are in the constant need of updating and maintenance, which requires a huge investment of both money and the appropriate personnel, which can create problems to the museum. Targeted technological expertise may also be needed, and this is especially difficult for small museums with limited staff and limited budgets. However, in many cases, it has also proved challenging for even bigger museums as well. The second category of challenges focuses on the social aspect of the museum visit. Most technologies used in museums, from handheld devices to applications and VR or AR, are designed for a single user and do not allow, in many cases, shared experiences with other visitors. In this way, the museum visit is transformed into an individual experience, which reduces social interaction to the minimum. The same applies to some gaming applications. So the visitors are also losing the opportunities for sharing and communicating their viewpoints with others, since they are absorbed by the screens and smartphones used in the museum space. This isolation is also considered as a main disadvantage of technologies like VR, since it prohibits the users from developing a relationship with the real world and the surroundings, since it demands one's full immersion within the simulated environment. In order to see this more clearly, let's have a look at the following example. In order to understand these points, let's have a look at this example. From a children's museum in Indianapolis in the United States. The particular museum developed an exhibition on the circus experience and the history of the circus. Part of this exhibition was a VR installation which provided a simulation of walking on a tightrope that you can see here. In the VR, the visitor was immersed in a lifelike circus where he's the acrobat crossing a tightrope for a cheering crowd below. Although the experience was very entertaining for the child using this headset, as you can see here, the entire activity was designed for one user at a time, who had no interaction or contact with the other visitors and no shared experiences with other visitors. If we consider the museum visit as a social occasion, the social aspect of the museum visits is sometimes lost, especially in these cases, with digital experiences prevailing over the time spent with co-visitors. And as you can see in the video, the rest of the visitors, who are mostly children, have to wait in the queue to experience the VR. And so this audience has an impoverished access to the activity that they are witnessing. The third category of challenges focuses on screen dependency. Most technological applications currently used in museums rely on mobile devices or touch screens, and this has created an absorption of visitors into screens and mobile devices, which is sometimes called the heads down phenomenon or the lure of the screen concern. As a result, Such screen-based museum interactives can isolate visitors and take their attention away from the real physical objects on display, as we have also seen in the previous examples, especially the one in Japan. In order to understand this more clearly, let's have a look at the Gallery 1 example that we have seen before from the Museum of Cleveland in the US. The visitors could also use different types of applications for smartphones and tablets, as you can see here. All these images come from the same exhibition of this museum, which provided additional multimedia content, including audio tour segments, videos, and additional contextual information. As you see, all applied technologies in this case are screen-based. This may result in visitors spending more time reading from a screen or a device than experiencing the actual object or its aura. The objects are mostly seen through a screen, which activates new information, and this may also change the visitor-exhibit relationship. Also, this screen dependency may cause constant distractions that can also degrade the reflective experience of a museum visit and impede an escape from the visitor's daily routine. The fourth category of challenges focuses on the nature of the activity. The screen absorption described in the previous examples also has other implications. Digital technologies, if not used properly, may start to compete with the physical museum, while what should be the underlying principle behind such applications is that the digital content should complement the physical museum. In many cases, and especially touch screens or other similar applications are placed next to an exhibit, visitors may spend more time with the system than with the original object, resulting in a displacement of the object by the technology used. In this way, a distance between the visitors and the object is created by the use of technology, and this can affect the overall experience. Many museum professionals have also argued that the use of new technologies can sometimes prevent the exhibit to speak for itself, or even destroy the aura of an exhibit and the feeling of awe created by unique or remarkable objects. So, do all these challenges mean that we should not use technology in museums? Of course not. So how can we ensure that technologies are used in an effective way? First, technology should be incorporated in museums not for the sake of it or for the sake of innovation, but for enhancing the visitor experiences and fulfilling their needs. Thus, the aim should be to offer innovative experiences, having in mind the limitations of each technology used. The design of technological solutions should also be conducted with the space in mind and based on the particular exhibition flow. Visitors should be able to understand and make sense of the technology used. If museums want to provide truly engaging experiences, then a level of social interaction is absolutely required. So museums need experiences that work well with multiple users and provide points of social interactions. So museums should also move, and people designing applications for museums should also move towards the design of screenless technologies where possible. So the important question is, how can we assure that design technology will be effectively used in a museum environment? First, it is essential to understand the reason why we incorporate a technological application in a museum in the first place, since it should not be used to replace the gallery experience, but to allow the visitors to experience something he would never have access to in any other way. The ultimate aim of any such project or any such application should be to increase the visitors' level of engagement with the original objects on display and not to distract them from their actual purpose of the visit. Therefore, technology can be used to create the missing content while having the original objects at the center of attention. Moreover, the use of technology should not overload the visitor or cut him off the experience of the museum visit. And thus a fair balance should be found between use and overuse. It is also important to match the experience with other sensory stimulus, such as touch or smell or other social stimuli, by incorporating a social element and ways for people to share their experience and communicate with each other. In this way, any technology will seamlessly blend with the museum experience, which is inherently social. Also, understanding from the beginning the goal of using these technologies is the key. Otherwise, the entire offering is compromised. In order for technology to play an effective role, its integration should be designed within the overall museum mission and strategies, and not as an isolated individual offering. So to conclude this webinar, in our exploration of the intersection between technology and museums, we've delved into a landscape of innovation, challenges, and opportunity. So as we conclude this presentation, let's reflect on some key takeaways. Technology serves as a powerful catalyst for transforming the museum experience, and each technological advancement opens new doors to engage, educate, and captivate visitors in unprecedented ways. As we have seen, this comes with a set of challenges, but the challenges we face aren't roadblocks, but catalysts for creativity. So each obstacle presents an opportunity to innovate or find unique solutions and redefine the relationship between museums and their audiences. And in this attempt, embracing a visitor-centric approach is of paramount importance. Technological applications should enhance the visitor's journey, making it more interactive, educational, and inclusive. And striking a balance between innovation and user experience is key to ensuring the successful integration of technology in a museum setting. So for those of you who will be participating in the hackathon in the coming days, in your hackathon endeavors, please consider yourselves as pioneers in the evolving landscape of cultural innovation. Whether you are a technologist, a creative, or a cultural enthusiast, your role is pivotal in shaping the future of museums. And as you dive into your projects during the hackathon, remember that the fusion of technology and culture is a dynamic force, one that promises a future where museums become even more accessible, engaging, and inspiring. So thank you very much for your attention, and I would be more than happy to reply to any questions or comments you may have.
Thank you very much, Maria, for this really informative and enlightening webinar. It is, in fact, very interesting to see how technologies have immersed in the museum environments. And now we open the floor to any questions for Maria. Any questions or comments? So Maria, if I may have a question, what would it be like your main advice on cultural heritage institutions or museums aiming to integrate, like for the first time, technologies in their collections? What is like one key element they should be aware of?
Actually, this is a really important question, and thank you, Nikki, for providing me with the chance to say a few more words on this. One of the main and frequent mistakes that museums do in their attempts to incorporate new or emerging technologies in their exhibitions is the fact that they start to think about innovation, and they start to think about the potential of technologies, and they start thinking about the technology first, before thinking about their needs and the audience needs. So my main advice would be, before designing any type of technology, before thinking about any type of technological intervention in the museum space, the most important thing is to consider the actual needs of the museum, of the exhibition, and the needs of the visitors. It's not just about having a fancy application in order to, attract the younger generation. It's not just about creating a new technology that other museums don't have. It's about addressing a particular need. And the selection of the technology should be also based on these needs. So the first step should be to consider, what do we want to achieve? What are the things we want to do in our exhibition, in our museum space? What is the need of the museum? What is the need of the visitor? And then try to consider which of these options, which of these technologies is the most suitable one to achieve the particular need. In many cases, we see museums making their own choice, for example, of technology. So it's good to integrate technology to address a particular need, whether it's accessibility or interpretation. But in many cases, the selection of particular technologies may be wrong. So even the selection of the technology and the type of technology used should be based on the needs. And we should also consider which are the advantages of each technology, but which are the limitations of each technology as well. Each of all these technologies that we have seen has different sets of advantages and a different set of limitations. And we should also consider this before deciding which of these technologies we should use in a museum environment.
Thank you very much, Maria. More questions for Maria? Okay, so Maria, thank you very much for this webinar and for your time in presenting this very enlightening presentation. This is the final webinar leading to the Smart Tourism Hackathon. We invite you all, if you haven't already done so, to register. The hackathon will take place at Science during the weekend. So please team up with people and come and join us. Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you and good luck to all the participants.
Thank you.